never expected Bleach to be this dark. With the newest episode of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, Episode 2, there is something extremely important which happens that many may have noticed already but probably couldn't put their finger on. This episode of Bleach submits a new tone shift in the series that has rarely been seen prior. As well, I want to talk about how this tone shift affects even the subtle storytelling that happens, stuff, once again, that isn't foreign to Bleach, but isn't exactly seen very often, if quite ever. So this video will obviously contain spoilers for the 1,000-Year Blood War Episode 2. So get subscribed. Let's break down and analyze Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War Episode 2. Picking up with the last episode, we start off after Ludus gets his arm severed from his body, lying in a pool of his own blood as he's looking up to speak to the mysterious bearded man, the King of the Quincy's. I've gotta say, this was a great scene to start with because the music here was absolutely amazing, and I want to make a point of this. It's very reminiscent of music you'd hear from Dvorak or Ludwig Beethoven. This makes this faction feel so much more evil, obviously, harkening to overtures from our own history with Nazi Germany. At least that's kind of the tone that I get from it. Though, as the gang are all awaiting Ichigo's return, we have an interesting interaction between them. Uryu has no intentions to help Ichigo, whereas the others are willing to. This leads Orihime to make an observation. There is a certain friction between Uryu and Ichigo that makes Orihime respect their friendship, oddly enough. That's just an Orihime thing, I think. Though, as Ichigo arrives back, Yuki receives a call. Sasakibe is dead, murdered by the very mysterious threat that Ichigo just dealt with. So, Ichigo goes out and is eventually dive-bombed by Nell, who surprisingly is crying, begging Ichigo to help them because Hueco Mundo is in trouble. At this point in the episode, you truly know something is going on here, and things are being flipped on their head more and more as time goes on. This is very important. Back with the enemies though, things are just as chaotic as Yahwach kills both Ludus and Ebern, because Ludus was a prophet and Ebern as a step towards peace. To him, these two are expendable because at any time they can get any errand cars they want. This leads to one of the most shocking moments of the entire episode. Yahwach unveils that he has captured an Espada, none other than Tyr Harabel, who, by the way, just so happens to be my favorite Espada. I'd put her in the S tier. Okay, I'll leave. No reason, of course, why I like her, by the way. None at all. Turns out that Yahwach captured her himself after seemingly, in such an easy fashion, impacting her into a wall as Nell and the others looked on in horror. This is actually really the moment that you know the King of the Quincy's, he ain't messing around. He means war, and seeing Tyr, one of the Espadas no less in this fashion, is not only shocking because of the imagery of it, but the fact of what it means. He made an Espada look like yesterday's news, and that, my friends, is just insane to me. And not only that, but he may turn her evil. This leads to not only Nell, but Pesh coming to ask Ichigo to help. Not only have they taken many errand cars from Hueco Mundo, they also took Donda Chaka. No, not Donda Chaka. So Ichigo, being Ichigo, he agrees to help Pesh, though surprisingly, Uryu can't help Ichigo? Turns out that because Uryu is a Quincy, he doesn't help Hollows or errand cars because his duty, as we know, is to destroy Hollows. So, knowing we're dealing with the King of the Quincy's, it makes me wonder what Uryu's role will truly be as the arc progresses. Will his role as a Quincy cause even more issues with Ichigo? Will Uryu betray Ichigo? Orihime seems to think these two are friends, but the King of Quincy's is clearly waging a war with everyone, capturing errand cars for slavery and torture, and stealing the powers of both errand cars, Hollows, and even Quincy's alike? The biggest question coming from this episode has to be a simple one. What will Uryu's role be? make sure to leave a comment on your theories and thoughts about Uryu in this arc so far. Though, they are interrupted by none other than the man himself, Urahara! Holy mother of Jesus, he looks absolutely incredible in this art style, and as the episodes pass, I'm starting to think, maybe I wouldn't mind a remake of the original arcs in this style. What do you think? Anyways, Urahara brings them to Hueco Mundo because he can't simply ignore what's happening right now because, as he tells Ichigo, everything is connected, and we both know who they're connected to, the King of the Quincy's. Also, before I forget, the funeral for Sasakibe was absolutely phenomenal and moving, almost hallowing to a degree. Seeing all of them there, paying respect to Sasakibe, honestly, it's kind of sad, and they convey that tone so well with the animation, especially with the bright images in this scene. So freaking good. Though, they arrive in Hueco Mundo to find an absolute massacre. Bodies strewn about, people ripped in half, chunks missing from their torsos, limbs missing, holes punched into bodies, all lit by a blue flame made from reishi that even burns the sand and rock of Hueco Mundo. What we witness is an absolute war zone. Just talking about this alone, this is exactly what I mean when I say I never expected this from Bleach. Violence, obviously, has always been an aspect of Bleach, and some of these aspects have, been around here and there, but because of Shueisha and TV ratings, it's always been the subject of scrutiny, and thus Kubo was made to change his manga story with TV ratings in mind. So, when the anime ended over a decade ago, it gave Kubo an opportunity to write a darker story. This scene and the direct tone shift is the outcome of Kubo getting more freedom to write what he wanted. We do know this arc is not perfect and was still meddled with in some respects, more so than other mangas sadly, but this is something that I'm glad Kubo did. The darker and more serious tone is by far making this arc so distinct already, and we're only 2 episodes in. It's also allowed him to flip the story so far on its head, with this being one of the most evilest villains we've ever seen in Bleach, at least based on the last 2 episodes and how things are trending. Though, we're not finished yet. We get an amazing scene where Pesh is confronted by Chad. This is because he realizes that Pesh asked Ichigo to help because he knew Ichigo would say yes. My friends, this is amazing character writing. Pesh essentially has some sort of guilt over asking Ichigo to help, because he knew that he would say yes, taking advantage. Whether for good or bad reasons of that kindness Ichigo is known for. Chad knows Ichigo well enough to see that Pesh took advantage of that fact, and thus confronted him, leaving Pesh in a state of pondering. This is some great, clever writing from Tite Kubo, using Ichigo in that manner, because not only does it get our hero into the battle in a way that makes a lot of sense, but does so by playing into the darker tone shift of implied, almost pseudo-manipulation? Whatever that is. Though, we've got to talk about Stern Ritter. This guy is plain evil. And once again, his character has a lot of hearkening to stuff like Nazi Germany, both in the way he looks and the way the music and writing presents his character. He basically holds a competition to select who they'll turn into, I guess, brainwashed slaves of the people they captured in the last battle. Stern Ritter, though, ends up killing many of them. That is, besides 2. Lord Aizen's aides, Ivern and Malia, to which they are then rescued by none other than Rose, Soon, and Bestia, of course as revenge for taking Tear from them. Though, things do not turn out well, because as Ichigo arrives, he sees that everyone there has been defeated, and honestly, I fear being killed as well, though we don't know quite yet. If they are killed, this really does signify that Bleach in this final arc is pulling no punches, though not only for that reason, but as well the reveal at the end of the episode. The rebels are Quincy's, and the leader? Yahuak, the king of the Quincy's. Holy freaking Bankai, you guys. Sorry, Kai, I'm so freaking hyped after this episode. Obviously, I've read all of Bleach until chapter 479, I think it is, just before the start of this arc, so I'm experiencing this all for the very first time. And so far, This is absolutely amazing, and I'm loving it to bits. The twisting and winding nature of this arc to subvert your expectations of what you'd expect from Bleach is absolutely tremendous with its execution. The fights in this episode, the themes and tone, the violence and disturbing imagery. Bleach has really matured in a way that I didn't expect, but I'm glad it has, because I think this is the most hype I've ever been for an arc of Bleach, and it's because of this tone shift. Though, with that being said, what do you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and get subscribed so you never miss a Bleach, Chainsaw Man, or One Piece video from me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.